TitanX. TitanX. Hello, everybody from the lounge. TitanX Lounge is here, and I have a special guest today. I have the dude with me today. He decided
Uh,
to swing on in and chill out in the lounge and just have a conversation. Welcome, dude.
thank you. The second I saw your stream, and I was like, "What is this TitanX Lounge?" And how do I get myself on it?
Oh, well, I really
I
appreciate that.
yeah, I like the lounge, just TitanX Lounge. It sounds like a good chill vibe, which is exactly me. So I was like,
Well,
yeah, I'd like to sit around and have a chat. That sounds good.
yeah.
Uh,
I mean, normally the streams are super high end and technical and a lot of hype and excitement, a lot of action and walkthroughs on UIs and interfaces and so on and so forth, and all the mechanics running behind. It can be a little overwhelming, and sometimes you know pulling over and find a nice lounge to chill out in and just
yeah,
chat. Sometimes it's good for the soul,
absolutely. Yeah, that's
Right?
something I've been getting very little of lately. Uh, I don't want to complain because like being busy and having tons of work to me is a positive thing. That means things are going well. Um, but yeah, like the amount of sleep I've been getting is not enough. But
Yeah.
I'll sleep when the bear market comes around.
Right. I'm sure
Mhm.
there's that holds true to a lot of people, including myself. You're tired, you're sitting there, you're drifting off, and your eyes are, kind of closing. You're like, I gotta go to bed. Even though you get up and you go lay down, your mind's still just ripping. It's
Yeah,
just like, and it takes some training and some effort to sometimes just shut it down.
yeah,
Um, I've learned how to do that because if I don't, yeah, you're right. It could be hours you're just sitting there thinking, but it's exciting too at the same time, because you're really
yeah,
amped up about what it is you're working on or thinking about.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah, and I know I can recognize it, and then sometimes I'm like, I don't want to shut it down. Like I'll just my eyes are shut. That's good enough. Like I can run through all of I can still
right,
think about all of it and run through it and then same thing like when I wake up in the morning, it's like Christmas. It's like I'm tired, but like I'm excited to get up and go jump on the laptop and check some stats, check this, check that, and just see what's going on in Titan X world. Like there's every day there's always something. Like
yeah.
today, Ouroboros launch. That was it was at like 6:30 in the morning for me. So
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's great, man. That
yeah,
is great. Congrats on
yeah.
that.
But like it, it it is what it is. It's not what I prefer, but all of the action I'm so happy to have and be a part of. So
Right.
give and take. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in a sense, aren't you kind of like the conductor, if you will?
Well, one of
One of.
sure.
Okay.
Like this is a big space, lots of builders, lots going on. Like I said, Ouroboros, that's a big deal in my eyes, and
Indeed.
I'm happy to see that launch. And um, yeah, I'm definitely not I'm not the only conductor here. I'm
I
happy
know.
to participate and contribute to that, but there's a lot going on with a lot of builders,
Yeah, and
especially
that's one.
now.
Yeah, that's one thing I've learned recently is uh, the the building side and the support within is just remarkable. I mean, it is truly, it's just amazing how all the different builders and founders and stuff collaborate and come together, to say, hey, this is a good fit. This is definitely in line with what it is we want to achieve, and that's just incredible in itself, and unheard of. And it's just a reflection. I mean, the case in point, just go to the TitanX.hub, the TitanX hub, and it's like, bam, it's just laid out there so beautifully. All those different protocols and everything. It's just great, and it's a safe place to go to do your exploration. Um, and hats off to Mike Dean for that. That's just incredible. And I saw he just put a new update on there too to show the liquidity um, variable in that now, and just the basic, and if you have the paid package or the premium, I mean the details get even more intense. But yeah, TitanX Hub is a great place to be and to go
Yeah.
and look for all the different projects.
Yeah, as far as liquidity goes, I need to reach out to him because it's pretty straightforward with all these projects. They have one main LP, but Element 280 has 14
Mm-hmm.
LPs. And so he's, got the stats on the Element TitanX pair, and it's showing 121,000 in liquidity, but that's just one of 14 pairs. So like
Right.
the actual liquidity is probably closer to 1 million. But people don't see that. They just see it one pair,
Right.
so yeah, we'll have to look at getting some kind of better statistics on that. But because I've had people, well, why, and why is the liquidity so small? And I'm like, well, you're looking at one out of 14.
Right.
That would be why. So yeah,
Right. So so I guess um one of the things with the lounge, just for anybody that new that's jumped on to watch the stream or whatever, again, this is a place to just get to know some founders, some thoughts, some of the a little bit about them. Obviously, anything that's discussed here is not financial advice in any way, shape, or form. Um, I want to get that out and very clear. Another public announcement is just be very safe and secure with your actions. Do your own research. Take your time. Don't rush in anything blindly. It can be dangerous. If you have questions, there are places you can go in the TitanX community. They're abundant to where you can ask questions, raise your hand, and I'm pretty sure that you'll find support. So you know, I just want to get that out in the open real quick. But back to you, dude. I remember watching your stream with Mike Dean when Helios came about. Um, I remember when Helios was introduced. I was like, "Holy crap!" I mean, this is going to take some time for me to figure out. I actually had to sit back and think about it a little bit because it was pretty dynamic. I mean, it was a whole new approach to. We're not just buying a token here. This is pretty cool. This is tied to it's the start of something big. I mean, it was obvious to me. I don't think a lot of people really realized it at the time, but now they do. Um, and what was the inspiration, man? What was it that got you to, I don't know, fall in love with your laptop? And I mean, as a kid, were you just a tinkerer? Were you a guy, out there fishing, or were you, glued in front of video games? I mean, what kind of led you to where you wanted to be and where you're at?
yeah, growing up, I was video games for sure, all through school. That's pretty much all I did. And then like through high school and early college, I was almost certain that I was going to be a programmer of some sort. And I learned C++ way back then, and um, things just took a different direction mid college, and I went a different route, and I still kept all of those computer skills. That's always stayed with me. I always felt like I understand computers. I can pick up the logic, and coding is very interesting to me. Um, so yeah, like with cryptocurrency, I mean, what really attracts me there is just the decentralization. Being my own bank is just uh, you know to me it's like a better way of storing cash under your mattress. Like
Yeah.
because that's the kind of person I
Good melody.
was.
Right.
And but storing cash under your mattress, you're storing that in USD, which is like the biggest shit coin of them all, um, in my opinion. And it's inflated year after year after year, and
Just
the
make more.
last few, yeah, constantly. In the last few years, we've seen insane inflation. And so that's really where crypto is like intrigued me, is that decentralization aspect where like nobody owns Bitcoin, nobody owns Ethereum. It's all publicly validated, and that whole thing. To me, it's like, yeah, whales could still, manipulate markets, but at least they're not printing money anymore. That's, I feel like it levels the playing field just a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and then like, you know, I've kind of, since I've been in crypto, I've definitely been interested in creating my own projects, but never really had like, I had bits and pieces of ideas, and nothing really took foot, you know, it had any footing until I came across TitanX. And then, learning about TitanX and then merging that with like ideas that I had, it just kind of all came together from there. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Um,
if people think about it, which kind of leads into something I was going to get to, is that with the growth that we've seen in Titan X, and um, something you had actually said in one of your streams when you were doing your UI reveal, was that people are jumping in now to buy, like, Volt, for example, um, not even realizing that they've jumped in and they're tied to Titan X.
yeah.
You know, you know, it's like, when you put that into perspective and you look at the amount of what's been built to date and what's in the queue and who knows what's coming down the road in the future, ultimately it all trickles back to that one element, if you will, which is
Yeah.
Titan X. You know, it's staggering to imagine that the more this grows, it all stems from just that one thing. And it's just pretty remarkable.
It's extremely remarkable.
Yeah.
Like, just seeing like other people launching, like every builder that comes to the ecosystem, they're providing value to everybody else that's in the ecosystem.
Hmm.
Like it really is, as more people come, we get stronger and stronger, and we're all built on top of that single token that that tide raises all boats. Like that's very true in this scenario. Um, you really don't see it anywhere else. It is amazing to see.
Yeah. Yeah. I had actually seen a post yesterday, um, and there was I think about 114,000 purchase of Titan X, and I responded with, the mechanics are in place. That just made us that much stronger. You know, it's just like bam. I mean, if that's the case, bring it. Because that's just betterment to everything, and then that ties into, like, with what you've done with Element 280. Um, that itself is just remarkable, to think that, um, you can go there and just get your NFT, and you can benefit from that, and you're instantly tied into so many different, 14 right now, was it?
Mhm. Yeah.
14 different components that now you are actively engaged in through through that action. It's remarkable to think,
Yeah.
and it just really, oh, it's incredible. And the fact that, having Helios where it is right now, is Helios is definitely of a very high interest to me at this point in time, and where it is, and with what it's doing, and its ties to the ecosystem through E280. It's it's definitely it's remarkable. It is truly remarkable, and uh, and that's one of the things that fascinates me about you as, the dude. and the people that you work with is the level of thought and foresight that goes into these builds. Um, it's so clear in ways that um, to a lot of the crypto world they can't comprehend is that why would they all this work this way together so efficiently, so effectively. It's not a dog eat dog type of environment. It's actually an environment of, we're building, the village was built, the city's been built. Now we're looking at, much more. And it's all through cooperative effort and community effort. It's amazing.
Well, there's still like that level of competition, like who can, burn or lock up the most TitanX, right? Like
True, true.
there's still that. So there's healthy competition, but it still supports each other. Like I'm trying to lock up more TitanX than the next guy, but at the end of the day, me locking up TitanX is helping the next guy. You know,
Right.
so but yeah, like on Titan Hub, I would love to see one of my protocols at the top of that list, just for bragging rights. But it's okay if I'm not there because those people at the top of the list are supporting my projects and what I've got going on. So it's to me like that's the perfect balance of healthy competition. So it's,
Cool.
yeah, HLX is in that 5 spot. I'll take it. 1.3 trillion locked up. Not too shabby.
Not
I
too shabby at all.
Yeah.
Not too shabby at all. That's incredible. The one thing that I thought that was really cool was when you did your UI reveal for E280 and making it to where if somebody just wants to come in with ETH, you know, they can just go ahead and engage. That was brilliant. I mean, that was just so cool. And little did they know, they're thinking, I'm just using ETH, but technically that ETH is buying the Titan X, is it not?
Exactly true. And I've been like watching, let me see. Yeah, just 2 hours ago someone did that. Um there was more buying with ETH than I anticipated. Like it was like I am very glad it was not a time waster to include that feature. Like with the amount of people that have showed up with ETH, it's been well worth it,
Right.
and just clicking on it's just fun going to Etherscan and looking at it and going, yeah, you see it on the in the transaction that ETH is market buying TitanX, and then with that TitanX, they're minting the NFT, and like, yeah, it's very simple for the user, and now they're a TitanX member without even you know
Right.
signing up for it.
Right. Little did they know.
Yeah,
Um, that's beautiful. I mean, it really is. The project as a whole is beautiful. It's just when you have the UI. It's great and it is spectacular. It's beautiful, but just the mechanics behind E280 is quite remarkable. It is beautiful. Beautiful is a great way to say it because of everything it does, and that ETH component just makes that easy button that much easier.
yes,
That was a game changer. I really foresee that as something that is going to become kind of like a standard, in a sense. It should, in a
yeah.
sense, be part of what people build, towards in the future is having that functionality.
Yeah, it,
Um,
it complicates things a little bit because now you're having to check the USD price of Titan X to match that ETH with like it does make the contracts more complex, but I still think it's worth it. It's worth going the extra mile to write that extra code, and it's going to make your audit a little bit more expensive because now they've got to audit all that extra code, and But as far as the ecosystem goes, it's very beneficial. You know, like how many people have turned away a project? I mean, there's no way to know that I've turned away any of these projects going, oh, I don't have TitanX, I can't participate in this.
Hmm.
You know, so
Yeah, I mean, a good point. You know, you got your chart watchers. They see a chart that's popping crazy. You're like, oh, I'm gonna go grab a bunch, and they look and they realize, oh wait, I need X to buy X. You know, or what? And then it's like, all right, how do I go about that? For somebody who's not that savvy or doesn't really quite understand,
mm,
they're not even gonna know where to start. You know, it's like, okay, wait, what? I got to figure this one out, and then figure this one out.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, you really did justice to the ecosystem, man. You really did.
I it's been interesting to watch just like how much volume E280 is adding to the entire ecosystem. Um, the buy and burns, you know, doing double jumps, like it's, taking Titan X and buying HLX, and then with the HLX buying E280 and burning it, we're adding volume on the Titan X HLX pair. There's volume on the HLX Element 280 pair. So we're creating tons of volume on, you know, 28 different pairs. Maybe not that many, maybe about 20. Um, and that's supporting the ecosystem as well. Like all, like with Titan X HLX, that the smart contract owns the LP there, and it's collecting the fees from the trading volume, and it's just adding that back into the LP to thicken it up. So Element 280 is specifically adding volume to the Titan X HLX pair, which is increasing the liquidity there, and it's machine owned, contract owned, and um, basically just I feel like it's increasing liquidity across the board right now just through trading volume. Now, obviously, it's not the same as Titan Farms. Like
Right.
that's directly that's the whole goal for Titan Farms is to increase liquidity. With this, it's more so just increasing the trading volume, which is helping all the trading fees for everybody providing liquidity in the ecosystem.
Right.
Um, but it's interesting. I didn't see us like influencing people's charts as much as we have. um, you can kind of see in pretty much every ecosystem chart like where Element 280 launched, because it's like it pretty much did the same thing to everybody. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so after the launch and everything, I mean, the launch stream was great. By the way, it was great. I loved it. It was so good. Um, and actually, one of the best parts was the very end when everybody was kind of signing off, and the mic hadn't quite gone dead, and I just heard a bunch of cheering and yellings, and it was great. It was so great because the celebration, you couldn't quite see it, but you could hear it and amongst the teams and everything. It was really cool. So my question on that is, what in the hell did you do after that stream? Did you go out and grab a burger? What'd you do, man? What'd you do? Did you just sit down and say, I gotta get back to work? Or do you
no,
like,
I was pretty enthralled with just the stats page. The
right?
stats page and deck screener. On one on each screen. Um, and I still am stuck to those pages. Like I'm still shocked at the number of NFTs minted and burned. I thought there'd be a lot more. I thought the short-term players would be minting tokens to sell on the market, but we're seeing tons of people minting NFTs and then already are burning those to sell on the market, which I thought was very interesting to see.
Really?
Um, yeah, but what did I do? I did go have a nice sushi dinner. I did do that.
Nice.
That's sushi is by far my favorite cuisine. Um, and we went to a nice spot and enjoyed it. But for the most part, Just I'm glued to the stats.
Glued to
You
the
know,
stats.
I think for the entire 28 days, I'm going to be glued to these stats. And even after that, it'll be interesting once the mint phase is over, what those stats will look like the following weeks. So, yeah, I don't think I'm getting away from the computer anytime soon.
Do you still game?
Not at all. Like
You don't?
I would love to, and I play one game, but it's like a very
Counter
casual
Strike.
game that no, no.
I'm a
I
big
have
Counter
played
Strike fan. I love it.
it's amazing to see that that game is like stood the test of time. Like
I
it
was, dude, I was playing Half Life. I remember when Half Life was released, and I blew through that. That was great. And I
what an
remember when
epic
Counter
story.
Strike,
Yeah.
yeah, and then Half Life Two is even better because they really did a lot with the graphics. It was pretty amazing. But I remember when Counter Strike was just coming on board, man, and it was hardcore, just rough, but it was awesome. And then when the bots started coming on board and stuff, and you could start getting bots and setting bots up there,
Yeah.
and there were times in my office. I worked at an engineering firm at the time, and my boss, he he was kind of into gaming. He was a big Duke Nukem fan. I'll tell you how long that was. But he fell in love with Counter Strike, so he would literally around lunchtime be like, it's Friday. Here's $20. Go get a case of beer, and we would just play Counter Strike the rest of the afternoon in the office on the local network, and it just spun from there, and it was a blast.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I've done the local networks. You know, yeah. I've played many and many hours of Counter-Strike for sure. Uh, like, but these days, like, you know, I've really enjoyed Gods Unchained. You know, it's like a trading card game similar
Mhm.
to like, you know, Magic the Gathering or Hearthstone, but with the added blockchain element. So of course I'm in. You know, like, are you telling me I can earn NFTs by playing a game? Yeah, and I can't even find time to play just like a game a week. You know, like that's about all I can get in, and
Wow.
it's just like there's so much for me to be doing in the background that it just doesn't make sense for me. Like I would love to sit around and play some video games and enjoy some time, but I don't feel good about it. I feel like there's so much to do. Like I can't sleep at night if I don't feel like I did something productive that day. And it just turns into like an all day event of getting stuff done. And um, yeah, I just figure like the video games, I can do that later. You know, like right
Yeah.
now, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. I feel like with the TitanX Eco, and like it needs 100% of my attention. You know,
I can
I
believe
have to be careful
that.
about like friends and family. You know, I need to still engage with them. You know, like
Right?
um, maintain a relationship.
Right?
But yeah, games. That was like the first thing that went when I started running out of time. I'm like, well, I won't be gaming for a little while, and I don't. You know, I don't really do any TV. You know, maybe like an episode here or there just to like wind down and you know at bedtime or whatever. But even that's rare. By the time I'm going to bed, it's lights out for me. Like,
Right?
you know, so tired. I feel like I've been a zombie for like the last week. But you know, I'm happy where I'm at 100%.
That's cool,
Yeah.
man. That is so
Yeah.
cool. What what's your what's your what's your next big plan?
I have several projects in the making right now.
Mhm.
Um,
I
and
can't imagine what they could be after seeing E280, man.
I yeah, yeah, I mean, I I, I don't really want to take
You don't have
away
to.
from E280, you know, like I try to do it one at a time type of thing because people are like, what's next? And I'm like, man, this just came out. This is hot. Like I'd like to just simmer on that for a little while. But obviously, you know, like it takes months of work to get, you know, an idea to blockchain. And so obviously I need to be working on things now so that they're ready 2 months from now, you know, and there's not like a big dead space. But yeah, that's, I mean, that's what's taking most of my time. Lots of collaborations with multiple people and other builders, and um, people are coming to me with ideas, and I'm reading white papers, and I'm advising on multiple projects, and like I just love it all. Like when people ask me, "Hey, what do you think?" Like I feel compelled to give my opinion and help out where I can. And
No, that's
um,
great though.
yeah.
That's great. It's great that you even offer that. That you're helping people out like that. That's so good. I mean, it's a lot of people don't have that, to where they would want to, you know, help other people. They just want to be selfish and keep things to themselves. But that's again, that circles back to just the dynamics, and one of the beautiful things about the ecosystem is you just see so much of that. You
Mhm.
and I get I'll get some draft white papers and stuff sent my way for comment and review. I mean, I feel like that in itself is it's kind of a it's kind of rewarding, to have, founders and people that have been in the space for a while that actually have projects that have reached out and said, "Hey, what are your thoughts? What do you think about this? What do you think about that?" And you know, I give them my honest opinion. I ask either silly questions, tough questions, or dumb questions, just for clarification. And having that opportunity to be involved like that is rewarding. It really feels good, and I like that. It feels like I'm giving something that interests them, and they want my opinion. So cool, I'm down with it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, as far as like tokenomics go, I think people can come up with really good ideas, but not really like narrow it down to specifics, and I feel like that's where I can really help out with somebody is like they got a general idea, but it doesn't quite work. And I'm like, well, you just got to rearrange this and do, like, I don't know, like when it comes to numbers and stuff like that, like that's my strong suit. Like in school, you know, I, I'm getting like literally 100s in my math classes, A plus, but
Uh,
then I'm like failing the English side, and it's
uh,
like I'm an English speaking person, like natively English speaking, and and it's silly that like but it's just the way my brain works. I'm very math oriented, and same like with my SATs, I got an average score, but on the math side, it was like 98th percentile or something. It was very
Jeez.
high, but the other end of it, the reading writing side, like it was very low, and it
All
just
right.
averaged out to, yeah, you got an average score, but like my math scores were just off the charts. So it's kind of, I don't know. Stick to what I'm good at, is I feel like that's where it is. So and I think that's where I excel with these projects, like the tokenomics and um, running simulations and go, okay, well, if we've got it set up like this, then this will happen. And it's like, oh, well, let's tweak this parameter and that'll change the direction this goes. And I can really geek out on that type of stuff really quick. So,
Yeah, it reminds me of something you said too one time. You were like, it was during the UI reveal, and you were running, I think, everything off of your laptop or one of your
yeah,
computers, and passively you're like, well, I mean, realistically, I'm running off an entire Earthian blockchain here. I'm running through a whole blockchain. It's like, holy cow, your computer's probably just sitting there going, dude, really,
yeah,
dude,
yeah,
really. I mean, it's just amazing to think conceptually what it is that you guys do when you're going through your development and your testing, and the levels that you're pushing, your code. It's it's just, to me, it's just fascinating.
Yeah.
It's just
I,
it's so
I
wild to
would
think that.
say, most of it is in the design phase. Like before it ever even goes to code, I'm trying to do the math and simulate how it might look. Um, like I said, in the design phase. Because if we wait till development and we develop it and then go, oh, you know what, this didn't run the way we wanted it. We need to change this or that. A simple change could be a lot of code changing on a developer and like having to go back and recode this and then change this function to do that, and like it gets messy really fast. So a lot of the stuff I'm doing on just like spreadsheets, and doing math on, like with Helios, I had, every day charted out with, trying to decide, trying to figure out what's the right amount of inflation, how fast do we want this to drop off. 'Cause that was a big
Right.
thing with like TitanX, is everyone was like, whoa, the T rank was out of control, so
Yeah.
I took that into account and looked at that stat specifically and ran that through the spreadsheet to be like, well, if we got this many people or this many people, what, just running simulations on that and deciding, okay, this seems like the right number to go with to for our age rank bonus, and then take that to development and run with it. But I'm not starting development until I feel comfortable with all of the variables. And I mean, some of the stuff you can change after the fact pretty easily, like the percent allocation to each project in Element 280. That's there's no additional coding there. That's literally just typing in a number
A
and it's
value,
set.
yeah.
Yeah. So stuff like that, like we can decide after the fact, but
Right.
certain things need to be figured out up front in the design phase to make sure that the protocol is going to run as intended, you know. So it's part of the game. It's
Well,
enjoyable.
well, it sounds efficient as hell. I mean, because you're the way you're going through the process. It's like, okay, if I can do this on in spreadsheets and in my mind, if I can get it to work, it's just going to
Mhm.
expedite the coding costs and everything else, and the auditing and everything else. So, I
Yeah.
mean, that's such a great approach, and your level of experience definitely, allows someone like yourself to be able to do that is quite remarkable. I know that I wouldn't even know where to begin on something like that. Seriously, it'd just be like, okay, but yeah, it's phenomenal, and to hear stuff like that from a developer just reinforces how, and maybe answers questions people have, like, how do they even think of this shit? How do they come up with this? You
Mm.
know, because a lot of people, everything in everyday life look at things and go, wow, wonder who thought of that or whatever, how that came about.
Mm.
It's curiosity, and
Yeah.
part of the lounge is kind of what I like to do, and have someone like yourself talk about stuff like that just really kind of makes you go, wow.
I mean, this one is pretty straightforward. It was like I was feeling the FOMO, of like there's too many projects coming out. I don't. It's going to be tough to keep up with all of them and read all the white papers and participate on day one launches and all those things. And it was like Element 280. That's the perfect solution. Like now I don't have to worry about that. Like I don't have to feel the FOMO knowing that I've got 280, and no matter how well any of these other projects do, I don't feel like I'm missing out on that. So this was definitely designed for myself, and to me, those are some of the best projects. Is like you're designing something for a solution to a problem, and we're not just pumping something out there and just uh, you know like I feel like there's real use case to something like this. So
Yeah,
uh,
it's yeah, right. E280 will shock the crypto world along with the whole TitanX eco.
yeah,
So true. Yeah, and it's just getting started. It's crazy. And dude, I'll be honest with you. I actually had a conversation months ago, maybe a month, about 2 months ago, probably. I guess if I can recall right. But actually, I spoke to a member in the community, and I was like, "Gosh, with all this stuff going on, it'd be so cool to build something that just could touch it all." And I'm not going to disclose any names or anything, but it was kind of said to me like, "Well, that's kind of happening," and I was like, "Oh, thank God," because that's what I was thinking. It was like it's growing so big, and it's so there has to be a way that you could touch it all and be a part of it. But
Yeah.
you know, again, that was just my thinking on my end and having a conversation with a member in the community. Um, and it was like, well, it's good to know it's coming. So, but at the time, I didn't know exactly what was coming until, you know, E280 uh, started to become a little more well known, and then I was like, yes, this is so perfect. Because I mean,
There's
I'm sure a lot of people had the same thought. They had to
yeah,
have,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, no, it made me laugh. Like Eric sent out a tweet saying, "Hey, uh, I haven't had a chance to go through the white paper. Can anyone tell me the bullet points? Like, what is E280?" And my response was, "Is like that's the exact reason why E280 exists. You didn't have time to go through the white paper to like look it up. Like that's why we need E280 is to uh, because we're overwhelmed, and by holding this, you don't have to go through every white paper and look into every project. Like you can just automatically be a part of it just by, with no management needed, just holding a token or an NFT. So it, I was like, there was his post was marketing in itself for E280. I thought that was amazing.
Right?
Yeah,
So awesome. Well, I'm glad it came to be. I'm glad it came to be.
yeah.
Um,
And we're
yeah.
we're creating another easy button. It's going into development very soon, um, that I'm excited about. That'll kind of be under the Element 280 branding. Um, but yeah, we're gonna have another easy button.
And there would be because I remember I think it was during the UI reveal um that you're looking at a V2 version of E280 for future protocols.
Yes. Yep.
So
And
that's good
that's
to know.
yeah. Yep. And that's not too far off. Maybe a few weeks, maybe a month or so. Um, yeah, and we'll this will be another project that's again built on E280. It's a collaborative project that includes a couple of different projects all in one. Um, but it's going to feed TitanX back to a buy and burn. And so that was kind of our solution to like, well, how do we include future projects? And it was like, well, let's instead of sending TitanX to the V1 buy and burn, we can just create a V2 buy and burn with new projects and then feed TitanX to that instead. And now we're keeping the system running
Hmm.
while still including new people. So because there was lots of projects that just didn't make it in the cut, like Pulsar and Ouroboros. Alien X is coming out tomorrow, I think. Like it was very close, but it just didn't get there. And it was like, well, it was fine. Like we'll create this V2. We'll be able to include all these other projects that come in on top of the ones that we're already supporting. We're not dropping anybody. It would just be an expansion of allocations.
Hmm.
But yeah, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. This one will be more perpetual, not just fed from minting, but from other areas. So it
So would
should.
the go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say it should have a pretty long lifespan. I would say the V2 buy and burn.
For anybody that's currently developing or planning on developing down the road. Um, is there anything in particular they need to be aware of um, with, maybe coordinating with you or anything like that, saying, hey, we got something coming. Um, and obviously, you would have to do your research and due diligence or whatever it is that you would do. But is there anything in particular that you would, anticipate or request from people that are thinking about building or developing, and how they should maybe approach you about V2 and being considered a candidate for it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely, I'm starting the list now, like, um, so yeah, I would say definitely reach out to me if you're looking to get listed on the next, on the V2 buy and burn. Definitely just shoot me a DM and, there's a few small requirements and to be eligible. Um, and we can always, depending on what your situation is, we can, because the V2 buy and burn, we're forking V1, which, and then adding new features to it. So if somebody is not eligible, we can add them into it. Yeah, short answer, yeah, shoot me a DM.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right. Well, I'm
I
sure people are wondering.
yeah, and it's really a situation of more the merrier. Obviously, we don't want a project that's going to bomb because if they do bad, like it's going to pull down the Element 280 chart some with it. That's the whole design. So we're not just like blanket including everybody, but I mean, there hasn't been a bad launch yet. I just don't want to say you're automatically included.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I
but
guess that's kind of what I was getting at, is that, there has to be certain standards,
yeah,
that need to be met, just to
yeah,
be even considered. So, and that I feel that's important for anybody that does have the thought or idea of wanting to, try to achieve being part of the V2, is that they need to go into it knowing that, this thing's going to get dissected. It's going to get looked at to make sure that it is, going to be, for the betterment of the whole
yeah,
approach. So,
yeah.
um, that's
Well,
pretty important.
I mean, I learned what happens when you pair your token with a scam token because I had Giannis paired with Eros, and um, yeah, that was not fun.
Right.
Um,
You got a question here. I don't know if
so I mean, this the same way. Well, we'll still have to engineer that, I guess. But I mean, most of these LPs from V1 are already created, and so the ones that we're adding that are new, we can create ahead of time, and then we're just feeding that LP through the buy and burn. There needs to be some liquidity there, so we'll likely set a little bit of TitanX to the side to allocate towards creating, these few new LPs. Where are you going?
oh.
My cat likes to step on the keyboard, and no telling what happens there. Close the stream off or something.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I'm used to that. My cat likes to come up and cross the keyboard every now and then.
yeah.
So,
No regards.
yeah. Yeah, right. Well,
Yes.
my cat, he's got a ritual. It's like clockwork, man. It's like clockwork. His name's Benji, all right? It's actually my daughter's cat. She's off to college, so we're taking care of him. But he's got this fish tank he loves, and he likes to feed the fish, which is really, really trippy, man. So what I do is I'll ask him if he wants to feed the squad. I just announce it anywhere, and if he's in the house, he'll come running. He'll run up right up to the fish tank, and
Yeah.
there's a little bench there, and he'll stand up on it, and I'll get the fish food, and I'll hold it in front of the little drop port on the lid, and he'll reach his paw up and tap my hand, and I'll drop it, and then I do it two times, and both times he'll tap my hand, and then he gets his own little couple flakes. it's like clockwork, man, and
Yeah,
it's a cat. He's,
yeah, that's
you
awesome.
know, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny.
Yeah,
It's Benji, man. He's a trip. So,
yeah,
well, cool, man. The uh, the success behind the launch of 280 was spectacular. Again, that stream was good. Um, the the component that you incorporated in that UI two has that liquidity function, which I think is super cool. Um,
yeah, yeah. That was something. Liquidity is very important, especially with a token that's main goal is to have arbitrage plays. The thicker that liquidity, the more money these arbitrage bots can run through these LPs, and the more taxes they can pay. So liquidity is king, absolutely, in a project like this. So
right. I think that's gonna change a lot of people's view on how they manage, um, their tokens. You know, in that there's other ways to participate, and earn by using that avenue, um, which is great.
yeah.
And the way you folded it in there is just cool.
I am very impressed with the amount of reward. Like there's 217,000 in rewards that have been built up in the last 3 days. Like 90 hours left in this cycle. So what is that? Three and a half days. Yeah, so we're about halfway
Mhm.
through a 1 week cycle, and it's at 217,000 USD. That's that's so massive. Like
It is.
like the amount. I think we're gonna see a lot of people minting NFTs last minute, um, trying to FOMO in. You know, uh,
Right.
I don't know, just the trading rewards. Like I've just um, it's done. It's outpaced my expectations. Like the amount of volume that was running through these tokens was just amazing to watch. The TitanX pair, it's got more volume than liquidity in it alone. The TitanX pair has 120K in liquidity and 157K in 24-hour volume. Like you don't normally see that.
Hmm.
And I don't know what the total. I have not taken the time to actually add up the liquidity of every pair. But rough guess, I would say there's about a million
Yeah,
in
it's
liquidity.
it's up there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and having all the information so readily available on the site itself, just it's great, to be able to go onto the site and just see how you can watch exactly what's going on. You have your pie chart for your stats, and that's moving daily. That thing's changing daily. I love it.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
it is a one stop shop in a sense too. I mean, I can almost say it's got a little, you know, it's whatever you want to know about what you've done in 280, you can see right here.
Hmm.
When you go there, it's
Yeah,
great.
yeah. I've asked a few founders, like, hey, what are your thoughts? Like, they know, like, has it positively affected your project? Are you happy with what you're seeing on the charts and, activity? And everybody's like, hell yeah, hell yeah. It's so amazing. Like, I mean, it's buying and burning their tokens. So,
Right.
that in itself, uh, you know, it's great to see other people are happy with it as well. Like, other builders, it's supporting their projects uh, and back into this cycle of we're supporting them, and their success helps support us, and everybody
Mm-hmm.
wins. Like it's so amazing to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, and our community feels that too. That's what's even greater is just the excitement and the enthusiasm that the community carries for everything that's happening. Um, and we are gaining more and more users. I just love watching the numbers go. Um, and with a lot more people actually um, including uh, hashtags and other communities in their tweets and stuff. Um, you know, I'll say this: there's good and bad to it. There's great to it for us. I know that I've been pretty aggressively on that campaign to really get the word out. But I am getting messages like, "Hey, man, what are you doing?" But I'm just doing what anybody else would do. I'm just sharing information about our ecosystem. I'm not forcing anybody to do anything like that. I'm just saying, hey, this is really interesting, and if you guys are really into, you know, crypto and you enjoy good projects, give us a look. You know, um,
yeah,
in time it'll gain traction, and it's
yeah,
not a switch. It's not an on-off switch. It's definitely something that'll build over time, and slow and steady wins the race in this case, in my opinion. Just keep feeding it out there, and we'll just we'll keep adopting new users. And in a sense, like you said so poetically, they won't even know it at times. They've all of a sudden they've jumped in. And they'll figure it out. And it's exactly what you said. Eventually they'll
yeah,
figure it out and they'll be like, oh shit, I'm in TitanX now.
yeah.
It's cool.
Or they'll ask, "Why is this going up?" And then come to that realization, like, "Oh, it's not even this project; it's this other project supporting it. That's you know, uh, they'll slowly see how well connected everything is. And
Yeah. Yeah. And
um,
yeah. And that itself is really great. And the curiosity will lead them. So,
totally.
but either way, man, it's been an hour. I don't know if you wanted to talk about anything else or anything, but I will say that you know, it's definitely been an honor to share this space with you. Um, and Utah, yes sir. Now there's a badass. That guy knows what's going on. Um, but it's truly been an honor to share this hour with you and for you sharing it with everybody else. We're on 236 viewers right now. That's pretty
Nice.
good for a Wednesday afternoon. So some
Yeah.
people took a long lunch or pushed their lunch off a little bit to join us. Thank you to the community. Haha, you guys are a big part of this heartbeat, huge part. Um,
Oh yeah.
and dude, again, man, thank you so much, and keep doing what you're doing, and be sure to take a break. I know you're looking at your stats and your numbers and stuff, but you know, there's always grass
Yeah.
to cut.
It's Yeah, it's so hard. It's so hard to stop. I can't
Yeah,
believe we're coming up on this year anniversary. Like it's gone by so fast.
it has.
Um,
It has. It has.
yeah,
Oh, and I got to share real quick before you do your part off. And this is more for the community. And I shared this with Dude before we went live. Is that the post I made for this live stream? Um, it it was basically swatches of some of the graphics that were on the Element 280 website. So basically, I took elements from the 280 website and I fed them into an AI generator and came up with that really bright, rainbowish type of post. But all the colors and the character of the cat, which I said I put that in there because after watching stream after stream with you, I always hear the cat in the background. But I thought it was just kind of a fun post. And at first, when I saw it, I was like, "Yeah, this is pretty over the top." But I'm like, you know what? Let's roll with it. So I sent
yeah,
it out there. but it was completely, all the colors and everything came from the Element 280 website. So I just thought that was a neat little thing. I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it was very cool. I'm in, I've gotten lots and lots of compliments with the UI on Element 280, the website in general. And I'm really proud of that. Like for weeks before launch, and I'm testing and playing with the UI, I kept telling myself, like, man, this is so good. This is so amazing. And I thought maybe it's just me being excited because I'm the founder and
mhm.
I'm building it and this is my baby. But no, I feel like the community has backed me up on that, where they're like, yes, it is indeed a beautiful website. So
Oh
I'm
God,
very
yeah,
proud to have that.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah, it's really really cool. And now,
yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong. You were like you. I could tell you were super proud of it because then you went in and you went into an emulator to actually see it function on smartphones and tablets as well. And
yes,
now, and I agree with you. Why would anybody want to do that on their phone? But um, actually, just seeing what you did with it and how it functions on a mobile device, dude, that's really cool. The way it flips around, it's pretty cool.
right. Right. That was one thing I learned with Helios. Like the design was completely desktop based. And then I got so many people that are like, this website looks like trash. And I'm like, what? And they're sending me screenshots and it's on their phone. And I was like, I didn't even think about that. Like, you do crypto on your phone? And like, so many people were like, yeah, I crypto on my phone. And that's when I was like, oh, that was an eye opener for me. Like, that's a no for me as far as security goes. Like I would not store crypto on a phone. Like it's just that is not a best security practice for me. But I've learned that there's people that do it, and so I'm catering to those people. And yeah, I was very proud of what came out of the Element 280 mobile version. Yes, very happy with it.
Yeah, it was very
So
thoughtful. I mean, it was I loved it. I thought just the way you can navigate was cool. I liked it. So, but either way, man, I know you
yeah,
got a lot going on.
yeah,
It's been a pleasure, dude. I mean, seriously, you've been one of my icons since the very beginning. Seriously, dude, I'm not BSing you. Just your style, your demeanor, just your approach. It's comforting, and getting an opportunity to just have a kind of a chill conversation about your approach on your development. Kind of what got you into what you're doing. And if it comes to math and anything like that, I'll give you a call. I'm not the greatest at
yeah.
it. I use, you know, I use the calculator more than probably the normal person, but still, either way, it's
Uh,
been a pleasure, dude.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, this is a break in itself for me. Like, this is a very chill vibe. This is exactly what I was hoping it would be. And so, yeah,
Cool.
definitely have me on again. Let's have some more chats.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I got some other folks lined up. I think I've been trying to coordinate with Colum. He's a very energetic young man, and I'm really eager to talk to him
yeah,
on in the lounge and stuff. And there's some other folks out there that I've been wanting to get with. Smooth and Crypto. I want to join forces with him and talk with him. Um, he was a big inspiration for me when I first got started in TitanX. He was there like day after day, um, pumping numbers
yeah,
and stuff, and he's just a cool dude. So, but again, thanks a million, and I'd love to have you back sometime. And the best of luck to you, and we'll see you around. Thanks everybody for joining us, and it's been a great stream. Be safe, be smart. Let's go Titan X. See ya.
let's go.